Thank you so much for reading this book. This must be a very exciting topic for you. I know you want to find your perfect soulmate. You want to find what's going to be the end all be all, correct? Well, I know it's not the end all be all, and I know it doesn't make everything perfect, but finding a soulmate sure has been a huge blessing to me. I'm now very happily married, in love, with the love of my life, and I'm so grateful that I found this person. And I'm going to show you in this book how you can find the person of your dreams and live the life that you love. So, where am I coming from? What is my background? What's my story? Well, back in 1998, I was a 19-year-old virgin still living with my parents at home, and I was a very insecure, angry, and fearful individual. I was angry and fearful towards women. I had formed a story towards women that women were out to cause pain in men's lives. Women were uh, horrible people. And what I found out, however, was that I had a story built up in my mind about things and the way things were based on my past. I had had events happen in my past that made me make up a story about what I thought relationships were, what I thought love was. And this was causing problems for me to fall in love, to actually find an individual. And so, what I'm going to share with you was how I overcame that to find the person that helped me live the life that I love now. I was attending a seminar in Landmark Education, and I noticed that there was a girl about my age who I became friends with in the course. Well, we attended dinner together on one of the breaks, and I noticed that I kept being picky about everything that she was doing. She couldn't do anything right. I even noticed that she uh, had to touch the windshield. She had to touch the window on the door, and I had to say something about it. This was an aha moment for me when she said, "Why do you have to be such a jerk?" I realized right there and then that women weren't the problem. I was. I had this huge story, all of this meaning built up about who I was, and this was preventing me from finding a girl in my life. When I got free from that, when I broke free from my preconditioned story about the way I thought things were, it was an old paradigm that I did not realize I was living in. It was as if I was walking around with a yellow pair of sunglasses looking at the world, where everybody else was looking at the same world with their own pair of eyes. I had this interpretation of the world that was not pretty. And when I finally got rid of that interpretation, I became free. And I felt this huge pressure had been moved off my shoulder. The next thing I knew, I was asking girls out left and right. I was taking chances in life where before I had stopped. See, before I was shy. Before I was the type of individual who was not willing to take chances. Now, suddenly, I was Mr. Don Juan, asking girls out left and right, not afraid to approach anyone. I was taking more chances in life and proud of myself. I started to really love myself. When I started to love myself was when magic started to happen in my life. I was really happy in my shoes just being me. I realized that everything in life is a miracle. I had one moment where I was scraping dough off a pizza tray working for Domino's Pizza. And as I was scraping the dough off the tray, I realized I'm making a difference. This is huge. I'm not just scraping dough off of a tray. I'm making a difference. I'm cleaning off this tray so that dough and pizza can be made on these trays, and then these pizzas will be delivered, and tips will be transferred to the delivery drivers, and people who eat the pizza will be able to feed their kids, and will be happier, and will cause ripples upon ripples upon ripples of magic to happen in other people's lives. That's when I realized how much of a miracle everything is. Now, the reason I share all of that is because I believe this is important to get in touch with this if you truly want to be someone that is going to fall in love with the right individual. Because I believe you need to be the right person. It's not necessarily finding the right person. You need to be the right person before you can find the right person for you. So you need to work on you and understand that when you get secure and love yourself, can you truly allow love to happen in your life? I also will mention later, about how the energy of love is powerful, and what you want to learn to do is give out the energy of love, because what you're going to give out is going to come back to you. So you want to become a giver of love, and that is the way to have people fall in love with you and to attract the right people into your life. So anyway, several months later, I was in a course called the Advanced Course with Landmark Education. Same building, different seminar. And in that seminar, we not only had an opportunity to write down our story, but we had an opportunity to share our story. See, what I learned was that each of us has a story. Now, our story is not necessarily true. In fact, it is not true. When we can begin to disassociate ourselves from our story, can we become free of it? It is like becoming consciously aware of something that has been sticking on the back of our shirt. Everyone else can see it, but we can't. But when we become aware of it, can we begin to move and cause shifts and change in that? So, here I was, sitting in the room. I wrote out my story, page after page after page. My story was all about how I was unlovable, that I was not going to find a soulmate, that I was going to stay a virgin for the rest of my life. I was certain of it. And I was really committed to my story. So what did I do? I had the opportunity to read my story over and over again out loud to the person who was sitting right across from me, a woman. Now this woman had the opportunity to sit across from me and read her story to me as well. And what happened was a miracle, nothing short of a miracle. I kept reading the same story over and over and over again. And I was starting to get sick of my story. Then I finally realized that the story was not true, that I could be free from it, that my story was not who I am, and all of that, which I believed, was now in the past. And that moment that I became free from that, I got up and the session had ended, and out of nowhere, this girl jumps right in front of me with this big glowing smile. She says, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "Yeah, you seem kind of familiar." Well, back when I was 16 years old, I was working at a movie theater in Flagstaff, Arizona. And I met this girl who was pretty, and we both worked together for a couple weeks, but I thought nothing would ever happen out of a relationship between the two of us, because I was actually her replacement. So she was only going to be working there for a couple weeks, and then she was going to move back to wherever she was moving back to. Well, that same girl was in the seminar in the advanced course who said, "Do you remember me?" And when she told me who she was, I recognized it, and I said, "Wow, oh yes, I do remember you." "Wow," I said, "you were beautiful then, but now you're glowing." Little did I know that those were magical words to her ear. She was looking for a partner in her life, just like I was looking for a partner in mine. Well, she started to plant the idea in her own mind that I was the man for her. She started to think of me and look at me as an attractive person that she wanted to get to know more and date. So it was a very exciting time for me because the moment I got rid of my story was the moment that I allowed for a new and more powerful, exciting thing to come into my life. It was because I changed that this happened.